the celebrity nobody protected. Highland Avenue, Los Angeles. January 16, 2026, 2:47 a.m. A lone figure walking down a dark street. She has 12 million Instagram followers. Her face appeared on lunchboxes, backpacks, and bedroom posters across America. She's been in front of cameras since she was 8 years old, raised in studios and on red carpets. Her family promised her a safe future. Her managers said they would protect her. The Hollywood system viewed her as a valuable investment. But tonight, walking down Highland Avenue, there's no security detail beside her. No protection team, no driver. Her manager isn't even answering his phone. It's just her, the darkness, and a black SUV that's been following her for exactly 7 blocks. Security cameras captured those 7 blocks in chilling detail. Every step, every hesitation, every backward glance, and that black vehicle maintaining a predator-prey distance, never rushing, as if it had all night. 7 blocks, 8 minutes, a lifetime. Finally, at the 7th block, the vehicle accelerated. The driver turned the wheel, jumped the curb, and launched an 82-pound young woman into the air. The driver never stopped, left no brake marks, never looked back, vanished into the night. And the next morning, the world learned that a beloved child star had died in a tragic accident. But this wasn't an accident. This was an execution. And for the past 6 weeks, we've been examining every piece of evidence, every witness, every clue to prove it. What city are you watching from today? If you believe stories like this need to be told, please consider subscribing. At Dark Case Files, we bring forgotten truths and silenced voices into the light, because every lost life is a story, and every story deserves to be heard. My name is David Harrington. I've been investigating crimes for 24 years, 6 years with the FBI's Violent Crimes Division, 5 years as a detective with the Boston Homicide Unit, 4 years as a senior investigator with the Massachusetts State Police. I've closed 180 murder cases, serial killers, organized crime networks, cold cases. I've seen it all. But this case is different. Because in this case, the victim was someone millions of people knew. Someone who entered their homes, their living rooms, their children's bedrooms. And yet, nobody protected her. January 16th, 2026, Thursday night. A charity event is being held at the Avalon Theater in Hollywood. An organization called Childhood Dreams Foundation brought together former child stars. The goal was to mentor young actors currently working in the industry, preparing them for its challenges. Ironic, isn't it? An event organized to protect children. And by the end of that night, one of the attendees would be dead. The victim arrived at the event at 8 p.m. She posed for photographers on the red carpet. She embraced old co-stars. She went on stage and gave a brief speech. "This industry can give you so much," she said, "but there are things it will take from you too. Be careful, protect yourselves, and never, ever let anyone silence you." At that moment, 300 people in the room applauded. But no one understood. This wasn't a warning. This was a farewell speech. Throughout the event, the victim had private conversations with several people. A producer, 2 former co-stars, a lawyer. The conversations appeared brief, serious, and tense. A witness who attended the event told us she had a strange energy that night. Normally, she's very social, smiling, energetic. But that night was different. Like she was carrying a heavy burden. I saw her holding back tears several times, and she kept checking her phone, like she was expecting a message from someone. At 11:15 p.m., 15 minutes before the event ended, the victim quietly left, not through the red carpet, but through the back exit, as if fleeing from photographers. Even the security guard didn't notice. Outside, on Highland Avenue, in the darkness of night, she was alone. And from that moment, the countdown began. Elena Cortez. I've been investigating Hollywood's dark side for 8 years. I started as a crime reporter at the Miami Herald. Then I went freelance because major media outlets don't want to touch certain stories, especially stories involving powerful people. When this case reached me, I initially thought it was a standard hit and run. Sad, tragic, but not uncommon. Los Angeles has hundreds of hit-and-run cases every year. Most go unsolved. But then I started reading the details, and things started not adding up. First, the victim had filed 3 separate stalking reports in the past 6 months. We obtained these reports from LAPD records. The first report was in July 2025. While jogging at 6:30 a.m., she noticed a man photographing her outside her home. The man fled. No license plate was identified. Second report, September 2025. Threatening messages coming to her Instagram account. You need to learn to be quiet. Exposing secrets will destroy you. Think about your family. The messages came from anonymous accounts, fake profiles, IP addresses behind VPNs. Third report, December 2025. Her home address was shared on an online forum. I won't name the forum, but it's a platform outside the dark web that regular people can access. Hundreds of people saw the address. Comments included phrases like, "Someone should pay her a visit." What did the police do? They filed reports, said they would take precautions. But no precautions were taken. No protection was assigned. No arrests were made. Because in Hollywood, celebrities being stalked is considered normal. They call it the price of fame, the dark side of fandom. Nobody takes it seriously until someone dies. That night, when she left the event, her manager wanted to arrange a driver for her. He even said he could come pick her up himself, but she refused. According to her friends, she'd become increasingly paranoid in recent months. She didn't trust anyone. She thought people were watching her, and she was right. To reconstruct the timeline minute by minute, we analyzed 14 separate security cameras. We examined every business, apartment building, and street camera on and around Highland Avenue, one by one. Toll 8:30 p.m. She exits through the back door of the Avalon Theatre. She's wearing a black dress, high heels, carrying a small clutch. Her phone is in her hand. She's looking at the screen, scrolling with her finger, probably opening a ride-share app. 11:32 p.m. She crosses the street. Her walking pace is normal. She doesn't look rushed yet, but she keeps looking around. Once she turns and looks back. 4 p.m. She types something into her phone, then puts it in her pocket. Stops for a few seconds. Then an Uber cancellation notification comes through. We know this from phone records. Why did she cancel? Our theory, she didn't want to wait, or she started feeling vulnerable while waiting. 11:36 p.m. She starts walking along Highland Avenue, heading west, the direction toward her home. Distance approximately 2 miles, with high heels, about a 40-minute walk. Under normal circumstances, no one walks 2 miles through Los Angeles at 11:30 am, especially not a celebrity, but she did, because she had no other choice, or she didn't trust her other options. 11:38 p.m. First block. The street is relatively quiet. A few cars pass. 1 or 2 pedestrians on the opposite side. The victim walks with quick steps. Her hand stays on her bag, probably holding pepper spray or a self-defense tool. 11:41 p.m. Second block. And here, something changes. On camera, a black SUV appears 1 block behind the victim. The vehicle is moving slowly, very slowly. Normally cars on this street travel at 30 to 40 mph. This vehicle is going maybe 15 mph. Exactly pedestrian speed. Sam Reeves, forensic specialist and digital evidence analyst. On this case, I'm working on image analysis, crash reconstruction, and digital forensics. When we identified the black SUV, I did a frame-by-frame analysis. I enlarged every frame, trying to extract every detail. Vehicle, 2024 or 2025 model, Range Rover Sport. Black, but not just black, matte black wrap. These kinds of wraps are custom-made, costing between $3,000 and $5,000, generally used by people who don't want to attract attention or want to hide their plates. Front bumper. There's slight damage. On the left side, a small crack. This damage is old, meaning it didn't happen that night. Probably occurred a few months ago during parking or a minor collision, and it wasn't repaired. This is an important detail, because with this damage, our chances of identifying the vehicle increase. Rear window. Lightly tinted. According to California law, rear windows must allow 70% light transmission. This vehicle is probably at 50 to 60% level, within legal limits but dark enough to raise suspicion. License plate. Not visible. Why? Because either there isn't one or it's deliberately hidden. In several frames, the area where the plate should be appears blurry. Probably something was placed over the plate, or it's a digitally changeable plate. INA's illegal technology used in some luxury vehicles in recent years. Conclusion. This vehicle was specially prepared for surveillance, and for 7 blocks, it never changed its distance from the victim, consistently stayed 1 block behind, never got closer, never moved away, as if controlled by software. For the first 3 blocks, the victim doesn't seem aware of the vehicle. She walks at a normal pace. But on the 4th block, something changes. A security guard at a bar on the 4th block was outside smoking that night. Around 11:52 p.m., in our interview with him, he said, "A woman was walking down the street, walking fast. She had high heels but was almost running. You could tell she was fleeing from something. She kept looking back. At one point she stopped, took out her phone, typed something, then put it back in her pocket and walked even faster. There was a car following her, black, luxury car, moving very slowly. At first I thought maybe he was waiting for his girlfriend, but the car never stopped, just followed slowly. Did I consider intervening? Honestly, no. In Los Angeles, if you intervene in every weird thing you see at night, you'll be dealing with police until morning. And I'm just a security guard. My job is to protect the bar entrance, not the street." Another witness, an elderly man, living in an apartment on the 5th block. He went outside to walk his dog. At 12:03 a.m., he told us, "I saw a woman walking quickly. She was crying. There were tears on her face. A car was following her. It seemed strange. I stopped, thought about asking the woman, 'Are you okay?' But just then, someone from the car stuck their head out and looked at me. That look, God protect us. It was a look that made me immediately forget about helping. I took my dog and went inside." "What was the person in the car wearing?" I asked. "I don't remember. I only remember their eyes. Cold eyes, no emotion, like a machine." We found 12 witnesses. 12 people that night saw the victim and the vehicle following her. 12 people noticed something was wrong, but no one called the police. No one intervened. No one stopped it. Because in Los Angeles, everyone looks out for themselves. Other people's problems aren't your problem. And that's why the victim died alone. But here's the real question. When the victim realized she was being followed, why didn't she call the police? Why didn't she call 911? Why didn't she go into a public place, a restaurant, a gas station? The answer makes it even more disturbing. We obtained the victim's phone records. That night, between 11:34 p.m. and 2:47 a.m., there are 12 attempted calls. To whom? Her manager, her closest friend, her mother, her brother, her private security consultant, even one attempt to the police. But none of them answered, or none of them connected. Her manager was at another event with another celebrity, had his phone on silent, didn't see the missed calls until morning. Her closest friend was on a plane, phone in airplane mode, flying to New York. Her mother lives on the East Coast, was sleeping due to the time difference. Phone didn't even ring, was on silent mode for a different time zone. Her brother was on call that night, works at a hospital, was in surgery. Phone wasn't with him. Security consultant was on vacation in Hawaii. Phone was out of range. And the 911 call? It connected, reached an operator, but the operator couldn't understand the conversation due to high background noise. Said, "Please speak more clearly." The victim was talking while running, out of breath. While the operator tried to determine location, the call dropped because the victim exited the phone app to access the Maps app. She was looking for the nearest police station, but before she could find it, she was hit. So the victim asked for help. She tried, she struggled, but the system failed her, technology failed her, and in the end, she died alone. Jake Morrison. I worked the streets of Detroit for 30 years, was a detective in the homicide division, specialized in hit-and-run cases, solved over 100 hit-and-run cases, and let me tell you something, this case is going in the textbooks, because I've never seen a hit-and-run this professionally planned, this coldly executed. First, the camera sabotage. 7th block, corner of Highland Avenue and Orchid Street. There's a private security camera belonging to a business there. The camera has a direct view of exactly where the victim was struck. If that camera had been working, we would have clearly seen the vehicle's plate, the driver's face, even the moment of impact. But the camera was disabled exactly 12 minutes before the collision. How? Someone pulled the power cable, physically, manually, unplugged the camera's electrical cord from the outlet. The camera has a backup battery, but the backup battery was also removed. Who disabled the camera? We don't know, because there's no other camera that would see that camera. But someone had to know exactly where that camera was, and had to know exactly where the impact would occur. This wasn't a random attack. This was a premeditated execution. Second, the impact location. The victim was walking on the right side of the sidewalk. Vehicles were traveling in the left lane. To strike her, the vehicle had to veer right, mount the curb, and specifically target the victim. In a random accident scenario, the driver typically loses control. The car skids, ends up on the sidewalk. But here, the vehicle was controlledly directed onto the sidewalk at exactly a 45-degree angle. We did crash reconstruction. Sam and I created a 3D simulation of that moment, and the simulation shows the driver turned the wheel to come directly onto the victim. Less than 3 feet of margin for error. That's millimeter precision. Not random driving. Someone with military or professional driving training. Third, brake marks. None. 0. In a normal accident reflex, the driver would panic and hit the brakes. But this driver never braked, because braking wasn't supposed to be part of the plan. Without slowing down, directly hitting the target and leaving was required. And finally, impact speed. Forensic analysis shows the vehicle struck at approximately 50 to 55 mph. This is lethal speed. A vehicle weighing 5,000 pounds striking a person weighing 82 pounds at this speed produces fatal results. And it did. So who? Who was driving that black Range Rover? And why? To answer these questions, we had to descend into Hollywood's darkest secrets. I conducted a long interview with one of the victim's close friends. I won't give the name because they believe their life is in danger. They only spoke with us after receiving guarantees that their identity would remain confidential. They told me we'd been friends for 10 years. We met on the same show set. We were both kids back then. We grew up together, and I noticed she'd changed in recent months. More quiet, more withdrawn, more paranoid. One day she told me, I'm making a documentary about child star abuse in Hollywood, and I'm going to expose some very big names. I said, won't that be dangerous? She said, maybe, but it's the right thing to do, and if I don't speak up, who will? She had a deal with Netflix, a 6-episode miniseries. The first 3 episodes would tell her own story. The last 3 episodes would feature testimonies from other child stars. And most importantly, in the final episode, she would name and accuse 3 specific people. Who are these 3 people? I asked. A production company CEO. This company has produced dozens of children's shows over the past 20 years, and most of the children who worked at that company are either in treatment now or have lost their lives. The second person, a very famous director, Oscar winner. But what happens on his sets? He's allegedly yelled at children, humiliated them, even used physical violence. The third person, a talent agent. one of Hollywood's most powerful agents, and he uses every method to keep children under control. Pressures families, forces NDAs, sometimes even threatens. And she was going to accuse these 3 people by name, with videos, emails, witness statements. How did these people react when they heard about this? I asked. They panicked. At first they tried legal channels, sent lawyers, tried to get cease and desist orders, but Netflix didn't back down because they had strong evidence. Then the threats started, Instagram messages, emails, but she still didn't stop. And then she died on Highland Avenue. There was silence. Her friend was crying. "It's my fault," they said. "That night I offered for her to stay with me, but she refused. 'If I stay with you, I'll put you in danger too,' she said. And she was right, because whoever killed her could have killed me too." The police took the victim's phone as evidence, but we accessed the phone's cloud backup. The victim had automatic backup enabled, and the last backup was made 6 hours before her death. What did we find in the backup? First, email correspondence with the Netflix producer. 53 emails total. First email in October 2025. Producer proposes the project. Victim accepts. Second email series. Interview dates for the documentary. 3 separate interviews were conducted. 9 hours of recording total. Second, threat messages. Came through Instagram, Twitter, email, even LinkedIn. Anonymous accounts, fake profiles, IP addresses behind VPNs. But they all have something in common. Same word usage, same threat style. Learn to be quiet. Secrets should stay secrets. Think about your family. This was a coordinated campaign. Not one person, but a group, an organization. Third, audio recordings. The victim had secretly recorded many conversations in recent months. One was an argument with her manager. Her manager wanted her to give up on the documentary. "Your career will be over," he said. "No one will work with you. You'll be in lawsuits. And maybe bad things could happen to you." "Are you threatening me?" the victim asked. "No, I'm just telling you the facts. This industry is very powerful, and you can't win against this power." Another recording, a conversation with a lawyer. The victim had the lawyer prepare a will. "If something happens to me," she said, "copies of all documents should go to my mother, my brother, and the Netflix producer, and the documentary should be released under my name." The lawyer asked, "Are you serious? Do you really feel you're in that much danger?" "Yes," the victim said, "because I'm not just an actress anymore. Now I'm a witness, and witnesses get silence." 2 weeks later, she was silenced. Marcus Chen, criminal psychologist. "On this case, I'm doing offender profiling and motivation analysis. From a profiling standpoint, this is a highly organized crime. Planning, preparation, execution. Every phase was done professionally. Offender characteristics. First, planning ability. The offender knew where the victim would be that night, which event she would attend, how she would get home, which route she would take. This means either he'd been following the victim for a long time, or he received inside information. Second, patience. The offender followed the victim for 7 blocks, didn't rush, didn't panic, systematically tracked his target. This requires a high level of self-control and experience. Third, cold-bloodedness. At the moment of impact, the offender didn't hesitate, directed straight at the target, then immediately fled. This shows emotional detachment. The offender didn't see the victim as a human being, only as a task to be completed. Fourth, professionalism. Camera sabotage, tracking techniques, impact mechanics, everything at professional level. This suggests military training or law enforcement background. From a motivation standpoint, this is a contract killing, meaning the offender didn't act out of personal grudge. He was commissioned by someone. For a payment, he carried out a job. And who commissioned it? Those who would benefit from the victim being silenced. Hollywood's 3 big names. Right now, they're still free, still powerful, still protected. But for how much longer? Because the documentary wasn't stopped, Netflix didn't cancel the project. On the contrary, they accelerated it, and very soon, the whole world will learn the truth. By this point, we had sufficient evidence. We presented it to the FBI, requested a murder investigation be opened, and the FBI agreed. A federal investigation has begun. A special agent was assigned. A grand jury was convened. Now officially, this is a federal murder case. Why federal? Because this case involves interstate criminal elements. The victim had worked in many states. The accused persons operate in many states, and perhaps the organization works across state lines. FBI involvement made a huge difference, because the FBI is less subject to local pressures. The Los Angeles Police Department is an institution with very close ties to Hollywood. Fundraisers, events, collaborations. LAPD doesn't want to upset Hollywood, but the FBI doesn't care. The FBI's only goal is to ensure justice. And right now, the FBI is searching for the Black Range Rover, investigating companies, examining bank records, and very soon there will be arrests. But we can't name names yet, because the investigation is still ongoing, and premature disclosure could jeopardize the investigation. But keep watching, because soon there will be major developments.
Netflix announced the documentary's release date, March 15, 2026, 2 months from now.
The documentary's title, The Price of Fame, Child Stars Speak Out. 6 episodes. First 3 episodes, the victim's own story. Audio recordings, interviews, set videos, in the victim's own words, what she experienced from age 8 to 27. Last 3 episodes, other child stars' stories. 12 different people. All experienced similar things. All were forced to stay silent, but they're not staying silent anymore. And in the final episode, 3 names. 3 powerful names. Accusations supported by documents, emails, witness statements. Hollywood is in panic mode. Lawyers are preparing for war. PR firms are making crisis intervention plans. And the 3 names have quietly started leaving the country. One flew to Europe, under the pretext of a business meeting. Another sold his LA home, saying it's a new beginning. The third gave instructions to his lawyers to destroy evidence. But they're too late, because the evidence is already in the FBI's hands. The documentary is already finished, and the public is now ready to know. Jake, the vehicle breakthrough. And finally, there was a breakthrough with the Black Range Rover. With Sam's forensic analysis and my street investigation, we canvassed all Range Rover wrap shops in Los Angeles. There are 3 major shops. We talked to all of them. 2 didn't remember anything, but the third remembered something. The shop owner said a customer came about a year ago, Black Range Rover, wanted matte black wrap, but there was a strange detail. The customer wanted special coating for the license plate area. A coating that would make the plate invisible from certain angles. Is this legal, we asked. No, it's not. I told the customer that too, but the customer insisted. Paid an extra $3,000. Who was the customer? There's a name on the credit card record, but I don't remember who it was. We checked the records. Name Michael Torres. Occupation, security consultant. We researched Michael Torres, 48 years old, former cop, worked at LAPD for 12 years, then moved to private sector, currently operations director of a private security company. Which company? Sentinel Protection Group. Sentinel's client list, Hollywood studios, famous producers, talent agencies, and those 3 names. Coincidence? No. We went to Michael Torres's house. He wasn't home. Neighbors said he hurriedly packed his bags and left 3 days ago. Where did he go? We don't know. But the FBI has issued a warrant, and very soon we'll find him. Highland Avenue, 7th block, corner of Orchid Street. I went there today to see where the victim was struck. There's a small memorial. Fans left flowers, put up photographs, wrote letters. We won't forget you. Next to the memorial, an elderly woman was sitting, crying. I walked up to her. "Did you know her?" I asked. "No," she said, "but my daughter did. My daughter is 10 years old, and she was her biggest fan. How do I tell my daughter now? How do I explain that her hero was murdered and the killers are still free?" I couldn't answer, because she was right. But I made a promise to that woman, to myself, and to the victim's memory. We won't stop until we solve this case. We'll follow it on this channel. We'll share every development, because the victim wasn't just a celebrity. She was a human being, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and she was trying to do the right thing. When she appeared on screens at age 8, she wanted to make the world a better place. When she died on Highland Avenue at 27, she wanted to expose the truth. We will continue her legacy. March 15th, 2026. The documentary will be released, and the whole world will see. Justice may be delayed, but justice never expires. Dark Case Files. We seek truth. We find justice. We never give up. See you in the next case. If you have information about this case, if you saw something that night, or if you've experienced similar things in the Hollywood industry, please contact us. Your tips will remain completely anonymous. And if you believe this story needs to be told, please share the video, subscribe, and write your thoughts in the comments. Because every view, every share is a step toward justice. Thank you.